have to do like an intro because I usually do that like for the first time. I think I haven't done like an what you call a podcast with someone the second time, so it's gonna
Ooh,
be fun.
fun.
So yeah, have you listening to have you been listening to any new music lately or?
New music. Yo, I mean, Astroworld came out today, so I literally have just been having it on repeat all day long.
I listened to it once, but I haven't really got like any thought process on it yet. So I have to listen to it a little bit more. So yeah.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I definitely thought, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Travis Scott. I think he has amazing energy and he's definitely a game changer. I haven't vibed completely, like 100% with any of his specific albums per se, but I really like, I guess, the overall sound on this album so far. And I think my only piece of criticism, which could be a good and bad thing, is that he has so many artists featured on it, which is like, good and bad. Like, I mean, I love The Weeknd. I think Drake's whole track, I didn't even know Drake was coming out on a track with him on this. So when I listened to it, I'm like, who is that? Because that sounds just like Drake. And I looked it up and behold, it is.
Yeah, I didn't even look at like the track listing for this album. So when I heard Drake, and then he had a lot of different artists that some of them either I recognized or some I didn't. I have to look at the track list because I know it wasn't on. Like, cause I was listening on Spotify, so I didn't know if it had like feature on. Were you
Hmm.
listening on Apple Music or?
Apple Music,
Yeah,
yes.
did it have like the features on there, or did it just have the
No, there's
title? Yeah,
nothing.
yeah, yeah. So that's funny. So I'll look up the what you call it, the title track. I'll look that up. And then I was
Yeah.
also listening to I know Mac Miller came with the album, and then YG came out with the album, and there's someone else like came out with different stuff. I think Jenna Iko
Yeah.
came out with like a single or something like that. There's like so many different
Mhm.
artists that were coming out with something. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's real hot. I mean, I feel like everyone's trying to push their music out right now, so
Yeah,
it
during the
like
summer, like a lot of people have
yeah,
time on their hands. So
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
let's see. Let me look at the full album credits. Let's look at that real quick. Let's see. Okay, Astro World. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm looking at the album credits. Let's see. Okay, the first track for Astro World, Stargazing, that was just had the producers, people that were produced
Hmm.
on it. Second track, Carousel, that has featuring Frank Ocean. The
Hmm.
third track, Sicko Mode, featuring Drake. Uh, fourth track, R.I.P. Screw, featuring Sway
Hmm.
Lee on Ray Shremmerd. Number five, Trying to Be God, just himself. Then number six, No Bystanders, Juice World, and Sheck West.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm actually saying that Stop Trying to Be God has James Blake, Cuddy, and Stevie Wonder.
on the thing it says additional production from Jane. I mean, it could have that. This is I'm just reading
Mm.
from Fader. So
Oh, true.
yeah,
Hmm.
and then it said like see Astroworld track list and production credits via title. So I guess these have more
Hmm.
on title. I guess. And
Hmm.
then let's see, at number seven, Skeletons, featuring The Weeknd. And
Hmm.
then number eight, Wake Up, featuring The Weeknd again. And then track nine, 5% Tint, that's just him again. Number 10, NC 17, featuring 21 Savage. Number 11, Astro Thunder, him himself. Number 12, Yosemite, featuring Gunna and Nav. Number 13, Can't Say, featuring Don Tolliver. And then number 14, Who What, Quavo and Takeoff. And then 15, Butterfly Effect, him. And then Houston, Fornication, him himself. Then 17, Coffee Bean is just him himself again. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So,
Yeah, and you saw like everything that happened with like the whole cover changes, right?
nah. What was about that? What happened?
Yeah. So, I mean, at least on I know there's like a daytime cover and then there's like an evening, nighttime cover.
Oh, okay.
And
I think I know
yeah.
what you're talking about. Are you talking about the one where like the first cover it has like the kids, and then the second cover it
Hmm.
has the females
It's a
on it.
bunch of like, yeah, a bunch of
Yeah,
transgender
yeah. I
females.
guess they was it just one transgender or was it just all transgender females on there?
I thought they were all.
Uh
I
huh.
have to double check on that, but
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure they were all transgender. And then the big thing was one specific one got taken out of the picture, and then like I guess Travis reposted that album cover without her in it, even though he had originally posted one with her in it. So
Okay.
everyone kind of talked about it and speculated why that happened, and then the artist came out and talked about it, and it's
Okay.
all good.
I thought it was because they only had one transgender and they took her out. That was what my perceived thought, but I didn't really
Oh,
look into it though. I have to look at
yeah.
that
I
album cover
mean,
again. But I was like, I understood why they used the first album cover because it looks more family
mm-mm,
friendly. Because like there's
right.
it's only like because there's one kid with like a popcorn and a soda. There's another kid,
hmm
and so I was thinking like why they picked the first album cover. So and I understand why
hmm
some people do like alternate album covers because they could do that for like the CD for the physical
Right,
copy
right.
or like for a
hmm
vinyl. So I understood that aspect. So yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, so I definitely have to look at this album again. I guess like when I was listening to Spotify, I guess I accidentally put it on shuffle. So I was like, yo, I was wondering why
Oh.
I was going through the tracks really quickly, and I was like, how did I like listen to Coffee Bean and then I listened to a Drake song and I'm like, what the heck's happening? And I looked at my Spotify. It was late at night, and so I was just like, yo, what is going
uh,
on? And I guess I had it on shuffle for some odd reason. I was like, what? I never have my songs on shuffle. So
gotcha.
yeah, so that was pretty funny. So I'll definitely have to listen to it again, and
Oh yeah, for
then I'll
sure.
definitely have to check out that YG project. I know a lot of people were talking about that project too. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
what's up.
definitely.
Yeah. Do you have like a top 5 or top 10 list of like albums that you like for this year, or do you have like a list of
Ooh, for
albums?
this
Yeah,
year,
we could do a top
wow.
5,
I
top
mean,
10. It's up to you.
okay. Hmm. Well, I mean, I think I mentioned this last time. The Color in You by Alina Perez. She's about to tour. Definitely going to her pit stop in DC in, I believe, September. So really excited for that. That album's just constantly on repeat since it's been released. Same with Tiana Taylor. I mean, KTSE. I loved it. I think the only song I was kind of indifferent about was WTP, where she's just like yelling "work that pussy" the entire time. I think it was just maybe a lot for me for my taste. I'm pretty conservative in that way, but I mean it's still a great track, regardless. But that album's just constantly on repeat. It also gives me like great summer vibes. It's definitely got that going on. I mean, Janae Aiko's Trip. I'm like the biggest Janae Aiko fan, so that album is just it's forever going to be always on my phone, always in my music library on all of my laptops and iPads and everything. So that one's definitely going to stay on there. And I mean, I keep trying to listen to Scorpion maybe like once or twice a week, like just from the beginning to end since it came out. And I mean, it's definitely just not my favorite album. Um, I would say there's maybe three songs that I really like, but then everything else is just kind of like I don't want to listen to that again if I don't need to, kind of thing. I recently picked up their latest album, and I mean, I really like it. I think it's a lot of autotune for one constant listen, but I really like their vibe, and they almost remind me. So I played it once in the office, and one of my colleagues was like, "Is this Post Malone?" And then it kind of brought that connection that like, oh, I guess maybe they have similar sounds in that kind of way. And now that's kind of like what I hear from time to time, or it might just be that one. I forget what it's called, but oh, Lucid Dreams. It might just be because that tune is very like post, so kind of relates. But I mean, I've definitely picked them up as of recently. I had a few people reach out to me on YouTube, email, DMs, said they saw my YouTube videos and they wanted me to, listen to some of their tracks that came out and see if I could incorporate it into any of my videos in the future. So I actually found one guy. I have to pull him up, but I mean, I listened to a few of his tracks and I really liked it. I'll have to find his name again for you. But yeah, I would say other than that, I mean, those are definitely the albums that are constantly on repeat, um, at least throughout this year so far. I'm trying to think if there has been anything else, but not really. I mean, I've definitely dug the um, few tracks that Pharrell has come out with, like that Camila joint. And then, gosh, did Nerd drop their album this year or last year? I can't even remember. But either way, that's another great album that I feel like a lot of people didn't even talk about it when it came out. Like it as an album is great. And I mean, everyone talked about Lemon. They did the Lemon dance, and the Lemon Girl became famous and everything. But I mean, other than like Lemon, if you actually listen to the whole album, it's great. And I think it talks to how they've grown alongside with the culture, even though they took a break.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah. So like a lot of R&B. I still haven't gotten into. I still have to re-listen to the Scorpion. I know a lot of people like claim that album's like really really good. I just didn't. It just didn't interest me. So I mean that's just pretty much it for me. But I'll definitely have to check it out. Because especially since it's like a long album, because like it's a
Mhm.
double disc. So I definitely have to like listen to maybe one time, and then listen to the other side. So. I
Yeah,
know
for
he
sure.
definitely got a lot
Oh,
of
and
success off the In My Feelings challenge and stuff like that. So I know he
of
definitely.
course.
Hmm.
Yeah, that whole thing is crazy. I mean,
Hmm.
I love that it was like this guy that just did the dance and everyone basically copied it and did their own thing. And I mean, it's still going on, which is insane. But it just kind of shows that like the power that social media has, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's real dope. Like I just watched the music video recently, and it features him also, and yeah,
Right.
I think it's real dope. I mean, I don't think he expected like that particular song to be really really big, but I know
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely was really successful with that album. So I don't think he expected that, and I don't know. It was weird because like I didn't expect like Spotify to like push him like so heavy, because
Right.
if you have Spotify, when that album drops, like he was on every single playlist or whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was either planned or not. And I guess people were just rocking with it. So, and I know he broke a lot
Yeah.
of streaming records and for that album being
Mm-hmm.
streamed and stuff like that. And I know that album once it dropped, I think it at least like went like double platinum or something like that the day it released because
Oh yeah.
I forgot one of the songs were on the radio. I forgot what it was called.
Probably I'm upset, I would think.
It wasn't I'm upset. It was one of I forgot what song was on the radio. I would have to look it up.
Mm. Okay, true.
Forgot what it was called. Let me look it up real quick. Drake Scorpion track lists. Yeah, I didn't like upset. I didn't like that song. I don't know. That was just wasn't for me.
I didn't like it when I first heard it, and then
Hmm.
I kept listening to it over and
Yeah.
over again. And I was like, oh, now I kind of like it. And then he
Hmm.
dropped that whole music video with Degrassi,
Yeah,
and then
I
I was
didn't.
like, now I
Yeah,
just love it.
nah, I didn't get a chance to. Let's see. I think God's Plan was one of those lyrics. Was one of those songs that was
Definitely.
on the radio. What was it called? Nice for what? Nice for what? I think that was the
Oh,
song.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that was on the radio a lot. So yeah, that definitely promoted that album a hell of a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought it was kind of like a bad choice for him to release Nice for What before the album came out. Like I thought that if he hadn't have released it as a single and just released it alongside with the album, then that would have made the album more of a standout piece than releasing it as a single preview.
I don't know.
But
I don't know. For me, I feel like it was something that kind of maybe intrigued me or other people. Like,
Mhm.
yo, is this gonna be like a really good album? I don't know
I
if I yeah.
know.
I mean, if I was
Mhm.
Jake, I probably would have tailored the album, probably cut a lot of songs to make it like a maybe like more cohesive or maybe like a shorter album, so like people
Mhm.
can at least not like consume it more, but at least like appreciate it more. And
Mhm.
it's funny because I was talking with my sisters and my cousin, and they were talking about it, and like one of my cousins, she's like a year older than me, and my sister, she's like 20, and my other sister, she's like 15, about to be 16, and they were talking
Mm.
about it, and uh, like my cousin, she said like she liked Views more, and then my little sister, she was like, yeah, I liked Views more, and then I don't know, I guess like they thought it was just too long, I guess, and they were kind of like expecting
Mhm.
a lot more from it, so that was just from their perspective. So yeah, I mean it's funny because I remember when the album drops, like everybody was like either head over heels for it, and I was just
Right.
wondering what was so special about it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't take the time to listen to it the day it dropped, but like I listened to it later, and so I was just wondering what the hype was about. But I guess
Right.
people are just happy that just to get a new album from Drake. So yeah.
Yeah, always. They're always happy.
Yeah, because he always drops so much material, so I'm just like, dang, like he's like a full head of steam. Like I'm like, I'm just wondering what his motivation is, just like to drop like so much music in
At one time.
the time span of his career. So you know what I mean,
Right.
like nobody's as big as him. Like that's crazy to think. Like you know. One of his label mates, Lil Wayne, like he used to be at the top, and now like Drake is at the top. Where when it comes to
Hmm.
like music and dropping, hits after hits, what I mean, it's real crazy. Like I wouldn't really expect that. So yeah,
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about him touring with Migos though. Like I feel like it was a crazy hype announcement and everyone's super excited, but I don't know, it just kind of felt like I'm sure there's someone else that he could hype up that isn't already so well known. It was just surprising that for me that he chose to tour with Migos or his label chose that.
I don't know. I feel like it makes sense. Like they had a song together, "Walk It Like I Talk It" from like
Hmm.
Migos, and he featured on that. And then also, when Migos was just like slowly like bubbling up, they had that song together called Versace, and then Drake hopped
Right.
on the remix. So I think it kind of makes sense, and I feel like the Migos have been around for a while, because I know a lot of
Hmm.
people have like kind of doubted them, and I feel like over the years a lot of people have like tend to use their flows and stuff like that, so
Hmm.
I feel like it's a relevant choice. So I mean, who do you think that he would kind of like take on the tour with him?
I guess like I just figured that he would do someone maybe not as well known. Like I feel like Migos is played on the radio, so they're clearly very mainstream, and I feel like they've even been on like SNL and stuff. So like I feel like they are 100% mainstream at this point. So I just felt like maybe he would have taken like an underdog who is kind of like on the come up, but not there yet. Would be like more impactful, but to each their own.
Yeah, so that's what's up. So it's just like a lot of R&B projects for you. Is that it, or
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm actually pulled up the SoundCloud guy. His name's Eric Reprid. Preed. Oh God, so sorry if I butcher this, but Reprid. And it looks like he's from Vancouver. He has like the SoundCloud little star of approval, whatever that means. But I mean, he just launched his LP, I believe, like a few days ago, like a week maybe. So that's launched up on there, and you can also play it on Spotify and listen to it elsewhere. But I mean, I'm all about trying to find people making new music and creating things. So this was someone that reached out to me actually a few times. Usually, to be honest, I get a lot of email requests like, please listen to my music, please put my music in your video. And it's not really until I either really vibe with a sound or I get like maybe two or three emails total that I'll be like, okay, this person clearly like has me in their back pocket and actually cares and not just blasting emails to me constantly. So I appreciate that. And I feel like, if they're taking the extra step to personalize a message that to me, then I can take the extra step and at least give them some feedback on their music if I can't incorporate it into a video.
I think that's awesome. I think that's pretty cool. I just checked out his Spotify and stuff like that, and yeah,
Yeah, for
he's
sure.
released like an album, some singles and stuff like that. So I'll definitely have to check him out, man. It's definitely cool.
Yeah. And then to go back on you, I mean, I listen, and I think I mentioned this to you in a text message. Like, I love that So Super Sam, right? Was her name?
Yeah, yeah, that's her name. Yeah.
Yeah, like oh my gosh, like that was literally like totally like music that I listen to, like music that I want to listen to, music that I know I have to find, but I can't actually like go that extra mile and research like all these different kind of sounds. But thank you so much for that recommendation. I mean, that like
No,
played on repeat for a straight week.
no problem, no problem. She like started as a DJ, and she like
Ah,
learned from like the turntables and stuff like that. And then if you look up like some of like her older footage, she like worked with Childish Gambino like back in the day.
oh,
Yeah, so
okay.
I'll definitely have to send you like some old like YouTube videos where like before Childish Gambino like did movies and stuff like that. He was like rapping
Mhm.
with Soul Super Sam. It was like I think the footage was like at least like 5 or 6 years ago. But
Wow.
yeah, but I was looking at like Childish Gambino's lyrics, and it was funny because I think it was on his latest record. What was it called? Awaken. What was it called?
Oh, awaken my love.
Yeah, I was looking at some of his lyrics, and he mentioned "So Super Sam" in one of his lyrics, and I was like, "Yo, that's so funny." And
Wow.
yeah, I think it's pretty dope because like, because I was looking at just like some old stuff, like just to see like what I could dig up on "So Super Sam" because she hasn't like put out like so many projects because like she
Right,
DJs for
right.
like a living, and she's on this label called Selection, and what they do is they also have like a radio and they do
Oh, yeah,
interviews
yeah.
and stuff like that. And so like she's a DJ, she DJs for a living, and she decided to put out a project called The Garden, and like she did like her own vocals, and then she had some help to write, and then once she like put it out like the EP. Like people loved it, and so like she performed like to different crowds, and then I think this year she released another EP, which was like 3 tracks and stuff like that, and then she like did like her little tour. So I would love to like get to like see her for like maybe for like a show or something like that sometime in the future.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a cool little find like to be able to like find like discover who she was and stuff like that. And I'm happy that like she did like her own vocals, and I thought it was like a cool little
Mhm.
project just to listen to. So I thought it was really really good. So yeah, so
Oh, yeah,
I'm
for
glad you
sure.
liked it, and because I remember you texted me back, and you were talking about how like I should do like an article or something like that, or like a
Oh,
blog post
yeah.
about it, because I sent you that artist, and
That and
yeah,
Sango.
Sengo's the producer. He's also on Selection also, and the
Mhm.
guy singing his name is Xavier Omar, and so
Mhm.
I sent you I think a couple projects from him, either one or two. I think I sent you one,
Yeah.
and
I think
then
no, you did send me 2.
uh
The other one,
yeah,
though, I didn't vibe with as much, but the
okay.
other one was like a complete, like 100
Okay,
perfect
cool. Well
selection.
stuff, well stuff. Yeah, so I think it was pretty cool. The way I found him, Xavier, his name before Xavier Omar was Spazzy Rocky, but he changed it to Xavier Omar. Cause like he did before like he like collabed with Sango. He did like Christian music, so like he like
Mhm.
sang and did other stuff, and it was still good, still good quality stuff. But he wanted. I mean, he's still a Christian. He still does music and stuff like that. But he wanted to change his name because he wanted to reach like a bigger audience.
Fair.
And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, he just wanted to reach a bigger audience, and I feel like a lot of people told him that he like had potential to like do stuff, and he was able to like collaborate with like Golden Link and other variety of rappers like Chance the Rapper, Mick Jenkins, No Name
Oh,
Gypsy,
wow.
and a variety of different people. So like it's been going really good for him, and so like hopefully like he makes it, like hopefully he goes a little bit bigger. Like one of his biggest
Mhm.
songs is called Blind Man, and I think it had like
Mhm.
at least like 10 million streams or some
Oh,
like ridiculous number, like either 1 million, 2 million. I have to look it up, but
wow.
like it was real big because like even like Jada Pickett Smith, she said like
Mhm.
she even liked that song, and like she went
Wow.
on like her Twitter and she was like, yo, if you're looking for like an artist who loves to respect women, like check him out. And so like he was like, dang bro, like he didn't know like his music was at least gonna reach a variety of different people. So I love him, and I hopefully he can put out a lot more content. And I saw like I remember I think it was it last year? I think it was beginning of last year or this year. Like he took a picture with Khalid, and Khalid likes his music too. And I'm like, what? Like that'd
Mhm.
be sick to at least like see if like maybe a collab with Khalid or something. That would be really really sick. So
Yeah.
so they know each other in person. So like they went to like he went to a concert of his and so yeah, so hopefully that will happen in the future. But like he makes a lot of records, but like he has to keep it on the download. I'm on the download because
Mm,
uh when he talks about like some of the newer records that he's done, he's like, "Yo, I did this record a couple years, but we just been sitting on it." So like, I like how like when musicians like make records and they're like, "Yo, we gotta sit on it because of the label, or we just gotta wait
hmm
for the time to release it." So I think that's like the illest part when it comes to music, the music aspect.
Right.
So yeah, that's what's up. So I'll definitely say
Yeah.
my top 10 or whatever top albums of this year. But
hmm
I definitely like the Kids See Ghost project. It was
Oh yeah.
definitely in rotation. I didn't expect myself to like that album a lot,
hmm
and I don't know. It just felt like it felt perfect. It was 7 tracks, 24 minutes, and I thought that was really really good, and and I thought it was really good. I thought it was perfect. Like for the mood that for me to listen to like hip hop, and then I like the Pusha T album Daytona. I thought that was really good. I thought it was like short, sweet, and simple. It was only 21 minutes, so definitely had like a lot of
hmm
replay value. And then I like that album that you sent me, the Tiana Taylor album. I didn't expect to love the album, but
hmm
I thought it was really good. I definitely have to like listen to it again, but I thought it was really quality. I thought it was like really really dope stuff. I didn't think I was gonna love the album as much as I did. So
hmm
I thought it was like real chill. So I didn't
Nice.
expect it to seem well. Like I didn't know. Like the only like thing that I knew from her is like I knew that she was uh in a relationship with I think it was one of a basketball player. I forgot his name,
hmm
and then I remember she was in like a Kanye West music video called Fade,
Right.
and so
hmm
I didn't know like what her potential was. So I thought like they kind of executed pretty well. I know not that many people are talking about that album, but I think that album is
hmm
definitely underappreciated. And then I know you sent me the album. Was it Alina or what was
Oh
her name?
yeah, Elena Perez.
Yeah, she was definitely cool. I definitely have to listen to that project again. But I thought it was a cool project for 2018. I thought that was really good. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's see.
Actually, I saw this morning that Khalid showed up at her performance at I think it was Lollapalooza, I want to say, yesterday, and they performed together because there's one throwback song that I guess when they were both coming up, they made that track together. And I remember it was even on YouTube as royalty free music. And it was just so good that they ended up pulling it. And I guess her label took it from them. But yeah, they performed together. It's such a throwback that he forgot the lyrics, his own lyrics to the song. So
That's so
it's always
funny.
good.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
it's
That's real
great to
dope.
see. I love watching artists keep in touch despite however big they are.
Yeah, most I think it's dope. Like when other people like collaborate, and they kind of see like, hey, this is something I would be interested in, and stuff like that.
Right.
So I like when people collaborate, and I mean I can't blame them if it's like a song that's like real old and you forget the lyrics. I mean most of these
hmm
musicians they write for other people or they write for themselves, and so I really
Right.
don't blame them. So yeah, that's most
Yeah.
yeah. So I know I've been listening to a lot of other projects that have been like underground, like mostly
Ooh,
hip hop and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited to
nice.
see if there's like any other people that are gonna drop music. I don't know. I'm curious about the Nicki Minaj project that's gonna be dropping soon.
Keeps getting pushed.
Yeah. Oh, it's getting pushed. Oh shoot. And when
I
is it gonna
saw a
drop?
tweet I think yesterday or the day before, and they were like another push for
What?
the
No
album.
way. I think I saw like a pre-order link. I don't.
Ooh,
I have to look at that. I remember I was looking at that. Give me one
yeah,
second.
I will
Yeah,
too.
I didn't know that album was getting pushed. That's crazy.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks. I guess something's happening. Maybe the
yeah,
label's just not happy.
yeah. And then I was wondering if Lil Wayne was gonna drop this album called Carter Five. I didn't know if that was gonna be dropping
Ah,
anytime soon because he got off his label
right.
because Birdman and whatnot, and
That whole thing. Yep.
yeah, I don't know. Let me look at it real quick. Expected August 10th, so it's gonna drop August 10th.
Okay.
Yeah, so because I know he was in conflict with Birdman, and so supposedly he got like guaranteed like 10 million out of the deal or something like that.
Wow.
So I forgot like how much the details was, but I know 10 million was the one of the numbers, and I
That's
don't know
wild.
what else the disclosed number was, but yeah, so it was wild. Like, good thing he's been able to get out of his deal because he's been locked in that deal for a long time. Because I don't know, it's been a long time since he's released music. Like, he's been releasing music like
Mm-hmm.
here and there, like singles or features and stuff like that. But he hasn't been able to like release like a full album. Like, I know he's released like mixtapes here and there, but I know he hasn't been like at least been able to like release like a quality project that people that can like buy and stuff like that or stream. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Right,
so
right.
I'm interested to see if that's gonna drop anytime soon. And then I heard there's gonna be another Nas album, and I'm like, what? I'm like, so there's a lot of
What?
music. Yeah, yeah. He just dropped a project with Kanye, and it was
Oh,
and he said like he might drop another one, and I was like, what? That's crazy. So
wow.
yeah, so there's a lot of music in
Insane.
2018. So yeah, so I'm happy with the music that I got this year. So I don't know, it's definitely gonna be an interesting year to wrap up. So yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm
for
definitely
sure. Yeah. I'm sure there's gonna be some good stuff coming out in the fall with everyone back in school. I feel like artists try to reap the benefits of crazy college kids like wanting that dancing, I don't know, hype song playing in the bars.
I mean, there's always gonna be a hype song no matter what. So, yes,
Mhm.
I'm definitely be interested to see like what's gonna be happening. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what's up.
I
Yeah. So,
actually went
go ahead.
to sorry, I
Go
went
ahead.
to a Greatest Day Ever music festival and did some collaborative efforts with Adidas. But while I was there, I saw this DJ called Kittens, and I mean, I was intrigued by the name first of all. But I was shooting a bunch of content. But while I was, her set was playing, and I actually like turned around and was like, "This is pretty good. Like, who is this?" Because I want to remember and like listen more. So, I mean, I thought her energy was great, and I saw that she's doing some other shows in the New York area in the next coming month. So that's just like a new I guess sounds that I recently picked up.
How was that? How was that whole event? I was meaning to ask you, but I forgot. But how was that whole event?
Oh yeah, it was great. I mean, basically, it was. I don't think there is any other like sneaker company per se that sponsors a music festival or even let alone create their own. So it's it's like very impactful, especially for the East Coast, and the fact that they chose to do it in the Bronx of all places. I mean, I feel like Randall Island is literally the top contender, but they chose to do it in the Bronx, and I feel like that was strategic. You know, bringing such a economical event to like a not so great area, but also keeping it safe and guarded the entire time. Like I mean, I've been to the Bronx maybe like once or twice, and it was mainly to not really hang around in the area. So I loved that they did that. First of all, the overall festival, it was like very well executed. It's definitely on the smaller side in terms of festival like attendees and everything. But for what it is, I mean, I personally prefer it over the giant mega music festivals. Like I go to Firefly except for this year. I've been like more or less every single year, and that's like a massive, like I don't know, 50 or 70,000 people festival. The Greatest Day Ever was not at that scale. But I mean, it has its pros and cons in not being that size. I mean, I got to see a bunch of artists that I've wanted to see. Like RL Grime had a great set and seen him for like I've only seen him perform once, so it's great to see his newer tracks. Major Jordan's always great. I've seen them in concert a few times. But I know that they had a huge new album that came out, so they performed a bunch of tracks from that. Was surprised that they didn't really do any throwback songs. So that was kind of interesting, but I get it, trying to push new music. And then Kittens again was really great. One of those artists that I ended up being like, who is that? I love that's probably my favorite aspect about music festivals is I'll go and see people that maybe I don't know, maybe I've never heard of, or I'll just be at the stage, right place, right time, and that's how you find new artists. So I love the opportunity to find new music in that way, and then to also see different artists perform and how much energy they have, and you could see how passionate they are about what they're doing is also just, I don't know, a warm feeling inside.
I think that's pretty cool. Like just to like go to like different places and then maybe like discover like new people or something like that or like new
Mhm.
tastes. So I think that's real awesome. So I think that's really dope. So
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
And then I always notice that you always like post like a bunch of sneakers. I'm like, yo, where do you get all this money from? Like for real. Like I wish I had money to like spend on sneakers like that. So
Oh man, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I try to be selective, and I think it's just, I mean, I've been like in the sneaker game for like only a few years, but because I have just amassed a collection naturally. And to be fair, I once I feel like I've worn a shoe X amount of times, or I'm not wearing it as frequently as something else, like it's not in my weekly or even monthly rotation, that's when I usually post it on Poshmark, or I'll do like a Facebook blast and see if any of my friends want it, and I'll just sell it off that way. So I can at least, if I'm not wearing it now, then I might as well use that money to buy something that I will wear. So it's kind of like a cycle like that. I mean, I've definitely resold like a few great pieces. Like I got the off-white Converse when that came out. That was like a hilarious moment for me. I got into work super early, and I naturally do, but I had my Twitter feed up and it was like now available Converse off white. And I was like, is it now available? So I clicked the link and it was like, you could purchase this. So that's how I got it. I was super lucky. And that was the first of, I believe, like the 10 Virgil collection that released randomly without announcement. So I got super lucky with that. And I mean, I got it, and I only own one Converse, and it's a collaboration with Comme des Garçons Play, and that's kind of like why I own it. But I got it, and I was like, "Oh, I really want to keep it, but the money is way too good for this." And I was like, I don't even really vibe with Converse anyways, so I might as well just sell it. So I sold it off and made a great amount of profit. And then I also got super lucky recently with the off-white Jordan 1 UNC colorway. That one was just, luck of the draw, entering the sneakers raffle and whatnot. Got super lucky there. And then this week again got super crazy lucky with the off-white Prestos. And I mean, I posted this on I think my Snap story, but I woke up and got a bunch of fraud alerts from my credit card company, like sneakers and stuff is trying to charge your card, and I was like, they are. That's great because that means I won. So I had a few hours of freaking out, wondering if the transaction was going to go through and if I was going to get it, or I didn't know if sneakers and stuff was going to be like, I got declined, on to the next winner. So got the confirmation email and was super happy. And I had a pretty rough day the day before, and I just thought it was hilarious that I posted a selfie and I was like, today sucked, tomorrow will be better. And then the next day I won it. So it's weird how life works that way, but I'm grateful regardless.
yeah, cause like I see like I noticed like on your story, it was either your story or you posted a photo. Like you got like the I
Mhm.
think the new Yeezys, and then I saw like a post
Yeah.
where you had like the Nike off whites, and I was like, Jesus! I was
Yeah.
like, where is she getting these shoes from? So I'm like,
Yeah.
dang. So like, so is it like something like is it like a hobby, or is it something like you just got to be in tune? Is it like the same thing as like fashion wise? Like I don't
Yeah.
understand the way like walk me through that this thought process of like being like a sneakerhead or like being into like sneaker culture.
Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of people always have like this backstory, like, oh, I knew when I was little kind of thing. But for me, I grew up with conservative, I'm Korean, they're conservative Korean parents, and they really wanted me to be as American as possible. And if you think of, America, like a classic American. I mean, at least for me, I think of like Lily Pulitzer, like Ralph Lauren polos, that kind of thing, just like a super preppy style. So I always grew up with that, was always surrounded by that too. Like I had basically no diversity outside of that culture just because that's what I was thrown into at a young age. And then I started, I think, in high school. I remember owning like a few Echo Red pieces, and I wanted to buy things like Baby Fat and Rockaware, and it just kind of like piqued my interest. As a high schooler, I had like no money whatsoever, and even I worked at Hollister retail. I think everyone knows how much they make. It's always like minimum wage wherever you go, and it's tough. So, I mean, I didn't really have any money to buy any of that stuff, nor did I really have any resources to find it. And the internet wasn't really a thing back then. And then in college, I mean, I kind of found myself and would, I had one of my best friends from high school when we went to the same college coincidentally. He was like, one day he just came up to me and he was like, I think you would look really good in these Jordans. And he showed them to me. They're Jordan 3s. And I was like, okay. So I like bought them. Um, and I ended up, that kind of just kicked off my love for sneakers. And then I was kind of just tinkering around with things. And that's kind of also when like more sneaker blogs and stuff like was on the come up. So I was able to at least like pull a little bit of resources at that time. And then basically he was like, oh, this release is coming out. These LeBron South Beaches are coming out. Like, do you want them? And then he showed me a picture and I was like, ooh, those look pretty cool too. And I was like, sure. And then he bought them for me and gifted them to me. And then I think it took me maybe 6 months or a year to realize that it was like a difficult item to get. So then that kind of kicked off like I guess my sneaker fascination. And then I think with the rise of the internet and the rise of social media, like I just like it started at like, oh, here and there I'll like read about sneaker news, and then eventually became every single day I need to, check Hypebeast, I need to check Soul Collector, I need to check Nice Kicks, like all this stuff. So it just kind of happened that way for me. And then I think the fashion aspects of being into like I guess more street kind of fashion just kind of also happened on its own. Like I think my fascination with Baby Fat Rockaware, and then all the celebrity influences wearing all that, just kind of kickstarted like my interest and passion. And then now that's like basically all I follow, and that's what I love to wear. And that's what I guess I identify with. Now that I'm like much older, I'm able to be more independent. And able to at least distance myself as much as I can from my parents. And they think I'm crazy too with the amount of sneakers that I own. It's not even like I've seen the sneaker collections that some dudes have. It's not even like anywhere near to that level. But I definitely have a good solid collection. Definitely some super hype items like those off white pieces I do have, and yeah, a handful of Yeezys. I mean, to be fair, I don't even have like any of I don't think they call them V1s, but like, the very first version of the Yeezy iterations. Like I have none of those, just because they were so difficult to get. I think one of the things that always comes up is people will always ask me like, who's your plug? Can you plug me? And like, I want this. And I think that's a difficult thing to even get asked. And I am always surprised by people who ask for plugs, just because at least for me, like I don't want to ask anyone for anything unless I've already given them something. I'm very into like an eye for an eye kind of thing. Like I feel like if I help someone, then they'll help me. But I always think it's really crazy and interesting to see, like a high school friend that I haven't talked to for like 10 plus years be like, hey, can you plug me with, the new 350s coming out? And I'm like, I think I have your phone number. Why are you DMing me this? So yeah, that's kind of like my sneaker story, and I guess how it's happening for me right now.
Did you always get like? Did you get this like fashion sense when you were like younger, or did you just like get it from like a family member, like your mom, a cousin? like an aunt? Did you get
That's
that?
a great
Yeah.
question. Yeah, it just kind of developed on my own. Um, and I had no influences really. I mean, I had one cousin who lived in California and ended up moving over to the East Coast. And I know that he wore a lot of that stuff, but I didn't really hang out with him as much, especially growing up, just because he was like, I think he's like 5 or 6 years older, so it's not very cool to hang out with the like little girl that is in white polos all the time, that kind of thing. So yeah, I didn't have like any iconic like influence. I feel like a lot of women especially are always like, oh, my brother this and that, or they had some kind of like male influence of some sort, but it actually ended up being the opposite, and I just kind of like developed the fascination on my own. I mean, my friend who did buy me sneakers, his name's Rick. I mean, he definitely when I reached out to him about like wanting to learn more about this stuff, he gave me like all the resources he could, put me into like music and sneakers and fashion. So I would say maybe he is probably my key influencer, but I do feel like I did a lot of it on my own. And then it actually ended up impacting my now husband. And when we first started dating, we both were basically like, we're solid J. Crew people. Like that is what we wore, and we owned a lot by that brand. And we were just really preppy. But I think as I kind of like came out of my shell in college, and especially towards the very end of college, he could see that like I was really fascinated with like all of this like sneaker culture and just everything that is part of it, and it's so centric. And then I feel like because I always grew up, I guess, like with the same aspect of wanting to be as Americanized as possible, and to fit in as much as possible, that I was able to be like, okay, it's okay to be different. If I'm not going to be that collar popping girl with wearing like Lily Pulitzer flamingos all over her dress. Like it's okay to not be that. It was basically my realization in college, and kind of like how I just became like a full 100 like female sneakerhead per se.
I think that's cool. I think that's like real awesome. Like, cause I know like when it comes to fashion, I know a lot of people have like different stories when it comes to that. Like, they say like either my mom got me into fashion, or I want to
Right.
aspire to be this person, or like some people be like I watched a lot of America's Top Model or something like that. So I think it's like real
Hmm.
interesting when people say like this got me into fashion, or this is something I still continue to find interesting. So I think it's like real dope when it comes to like especially when people get into fashion. I know like women are a lot more into it than men are, but I think it's like real dope. It's
Right.
funny because like I know like a lot of like females, they use like Pinterest, and they like try to like make a board and try to like find like some type of
Hmm.
inspiration or something. And I know people like can spend like hours on it, and I can understand. Like I've definitely looked at the app, and I can understand why people can spend like a whole day on it. When it comes to like looking at stuff or like pinning stuff to your board. And I think it's
Hmm.
like it's real dope that like people like still find inspiration by that, like whether it comes to like movies, TV shows, or even looking at Instagram. So I think it's like it's
Right.
real dope that people like find that. Like I wish I could be like fashionable. I'm
Hmm.
trying, but like it's like it takes time. Like it really does take time. Like you can't like dive into it like real quick. But like I think it's like real dope that like people like you, whether it's like whether it's like sneakers or whether it's like outfits or whatever. I feel like it's real dope where like people at least incorporate their fashion into their lifestyle. So yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, it's definitely difficult at times. And I think because the East Coast, and also I live in the greater Washington D.C. area, so like naturally, like everyone's like always suit and tie here, like wearing very conservative clothing. I can say that if I walk around DC in an outfit that I feel extremely comfortable in and is probably like more on the fashionable trendy side, that like I will just naturally like stick out like a sore thumb and also turn a lot of heads, just because like it's different. But when I lived in New York in 2014, I mean, it was like the complete opposite. Like I could go out super trendy and no one would look at me. So I think it just matters kind of like where you live, where you grow up, and where you choose to stay, in terms of gaining those kind of fashion influences. And with the internet, I mean, you can learn about fashion now. Like in I could be in DC and learn about how what New Yorkers are wearing. So I think having, all the information available at your fingertips has also helped.
Does like when it comes to fashion, does it take up a lot of your time? Does it take up some of your time? How does that like process work? Because
Oh, that's a
you said it was
question.
kind of affecting your family or like your husband or
Oh
something like
yeah.
that or
My so I guess like my fashion influences did affect my husband because eventually he completely converted too from like never walking into J. Crew anymore to or always walking into J. Crew to never walking in now. And like now he's on the I guess like hype game kind of like me. But like he loves his T Rose. Like I mean he has maybe like 3 or 4 pairs now. He's I guess like as we grow up, we value our comfort clothes just as much as our work clothes. So yeah, his fashion totally changed alongside me, and I think that's probably like one of the reasons why I like fell in love with him because he saw that I was so interested in this, and it was something that made me different, and could also be different in a bad way. Like in college, I remember wearing like a lot of fitted caps and stuff, and like literally, I feel like dudes would look at me and be like, ew, kind of thing. Like, why are you dressing like that? Like, you shouldn't be dressing like that. Wear a dress, kind of thing. But like, I was really grateful that he was really accepting of it. And I think that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with him because, he accepted me in any and all forms. Even when I got a lot of backlash for the way that I dressed and styled myself. And then I think because of that, he also appreciated the style influences too. And then eventually, like he gets all the same news as I do now. Like he follows probably all the same sneaker accounts and whatnot. And like I don't know, at night sometimes we'll just like talk about like whatever happened during the day, like Virgil moving to Louis, like that kind of thing. We'll just talk about it at night and do like a recap almost of just stuff that happened today that was newsworthy.
do you have like any like siblings that like at least into fashion either? Like do you have like any like cousins or at least like family members that are also maybe have that same drive as you, or is it just like you and your husband, or is it just like, or do you have like any friends that have like the same like maybe like passion like that? Do you have like any friends that are like probably like into the same
Hmm.
thing as you, or probably not?
Mm, I don't think I have any friends that are really like into sneakers and fashion as much as I am. I mean, I feel like naturally, like girls will be like, I can't believe you got that off white Presto. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, yeah, but I entered like 10 raffles. You probably entered one. Like, I don't think you understand the work that goes behind this. But my sister, she's about 4 to 5 years younger than me. And she's like, the complete opposite of me in a way where she values her more basic clothing items. Like she is usually in like a plain tee with like jeans, but she keeps it still trendy. So like mom jeans are super in. So she'll wear mom jeans with like, a pretty plain top. And I would say like Brandy Melville is probably one of her favorite stores. Versus like me. I mean, I'm pretty strong with the Adidas clothing game. Um, but I guess it kind of just shows the differences between us. My mom was actually an artist growing up, and she pursued it as a career. She was a sculptor, which doesn't really relate to fashion much, but I think because she had that kind of artistic sense living within her, that it naturally came over to me in the jeans. And I feel like maybe that's where a lot of my love and passion comes from, like underneath all everything it's all maybe because of my mom. But I feel like no, I never really had any, at least like family kind of influence or friends. I went to I guess like a prep school in high school, and these girls like a lot of them had came from money, so they had the ability to dress really trendy because they could. So I guess that kind of shaped me in a way of wanting to at least be on trend with whatever was in. at the time. But that kind of fashion wasn't, I guess, my taste. So they were like super into like the anthropology stuff at that time, and just some other things. What Vineyard Vine, that little whale, like they're really into that kind of stuff. And I mean, I immersed myself into it 100%, but it just never felt me, or it never felt like I was identifying myself as 100%. This is what I like. So yeah, I guess that kind of sums it up. Like, no, didn't have really any iconic influence.
I feel it. I feel it. I think that's interesting because it's funny. Like when I talk to people, whether it's like art or whether it's fashion, I'm just like curious, like whether they got it from somebody in the family, whether it runs in the family, or something that they kind of like picked up later on and then kind of just like ran with it. So I think that's real
Mhm.
cool. Does your family either get concerned about like how like you either spend like shoes, or they're just like whatever? That I mean, that's
Oh
like something that you.
yeah.
Oh, they got, that's funny.
They're always like, stop buying sneakers. Please stop. But then like I'll tell them about how I sold the off-white Converse. And my dad's the type of person where he's always, he doesn't say what he's thinking, but I could tell like the wheels in his head are turning. It's like I told him about that, and I'm pretty sure he like looked up a few articles about like how you can resell sneakers for profit after I talked to him. And then my mom is just, she's like, I'm never buying you a pair of sneakers, and you need to stop buying yourself sneakers. But I'll come home with something like cute and trendy. Like I mean, one time I came home with the Pharrell Adidas human. It's not like the human racer NMDs; they're just the HU tennis shoe, and it has kind of like a marbled pink sole, and they're tan and beige prime knit. And she was like, I want these. Where did you get them? Get me a pair, please. So I definitely have indulged my mom into sneakers. She has like less than 10, but you know, there's some pretty solid pickups. Like I got her the Fenty Rihanna high trainer when that first came out, which I mean itself is just like a very unique looking shoe. And then whatever she does say that she likes that I have, I either give it to her or I buy one for her.
I think that's real awesome. That's real dope. So yeah, I mean, if it was my family, they'd be like, "Why are you buying so much stuff? Like, why are you doing that?" But yeah, but I understand
Right.
that, especially when it comes to sake of fashion. So and plus, like my sisters and my mom, they know when it comes to fashion. My daddy's like, I really don't care as long as it looks nice, it's cool. So yeah, I
Mhm.
think that's like real awesome. So yeah, that's what's up.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's it. I want to ask.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Nice.
yeah. Is there anything you want to ask me, or is it like, are we good at a good note, or?
Ooh, I think it is a good note. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Um, yeah, we should like reconnect in the fall.
Hmm.
Because I'm sure there'll be some great music out by then, hopefully. And then I'm going to see Tiana Taylor in like 2 weeks. She's coming. Her tour is alongside Jeremiah, so I'm gonna go see both of them perform. I mean, I've seen Jeremiah before. He's great. I mean, great voice. He's a great performer, I guess. Really plays up how women really love him. But yeah, I'm gonna go see her and Alina Perez, and then I'm sure a thing or two will pop up naturally. But would love to reconnect and recap the show.
Yeah, most stuff. We definitely have to do this again. So yeah, it was really
Yeah,
fun. So yeah, so good thing we did it
good
at this
stuff.
time though. So yeah, it was really
Oh
fun.
yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, this really
Awesome.
cool.
Well, thanks for having me. Really
Oh,
appreciate
no
it.
problem, no problem. This is real fun again. So I was like, I had to get you again. So I was just like, yo, cause I remember when you texted me about the music thing. Now you're gonna write up something. So I was just like, yo, it was like that'd be
Mhm.
cool to like reconnect and do something again. So yeah, this is
Yeah,
real awesome.
yeah,
So
definitely. That's still on my to-do list. It's a heavy to-do list, but
yeah,
don't worry, it's on
yeah, most
there.
stuff. I'll definitely remind you if you forget. So most stuff. So
Always, always.
so cool, 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 cool.